But first, there's something fundamentally wrong with the government that could not put a simple resolution to the Parliament today, mourning the October 7 dead, demanding the release of hostages and condemning the listed terror group Hamas for its atrocities. Instead, reflecting the ambivalence of the Labor Party now has for Israel, the government insisted on including in its resolution recognition of Palestinian civilians killed in Gaza, more humanitarian assistance in Gaza and Lebanon, a ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon, and the need for a two-state solution, even though any Palestinian state right now, be it Hamas, Hezbollah or Palestinian Authority controlled, would effectively be run by terrorists. Now, the idea of a parliamentary motion to condemn what occurred 12 months ago came from Peter Dutton.
On Saturday, I wrote to the Prime Minister suggesting that we should arrive at a bipartisan position and bring a motion before the House to mark the anniversary of October 7. This motion was supposed to be about October 7, about the loss of human life. I proposed to the Prime Minister a motion which was balanced and objective, and I appreciated the engagement with the Prime Minister when I met with him this morning. Regrettably, we've not been able to arrive at a position of bipartisanship in relation to this matter.
Look, it says everything to me that it was Dutton that had to raise it with the government. I mean, the government controls the program. You look ahead at the month, you can see that this is one of the most significant events in October, but still nothing was forthcoming. So Dutton proposes it to the Prime Minister on Saturday, and then it all falls in a heap. Peter Dutton was dead right today to refuse to support a resolution that, far from commiserating with Jewish people about the greatest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust, it was full of more bogus even-handedness from a government that just can't decide whose side it's on.
We also reiterate our call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The situation in Gaza is catastrophic, and tens of thousands of innocent lives have been lost.
But of course, it goes beyond that. And it's an extension of the way in which the Prime Minister has conducted the debate and himself over the course of the last 12 months, trying to please all people in this debate.
This is a government that recognises Israel's right to self-defence in theory, but not practice. Because any ceasefire, well, that would now leave Hamas in control of Gaza and Hezbollah effectively in control of Lebanon. And it would mean leaving Israel exposed to more attacks like the October 7 atrocity. Now, it was Labor's greatest ever leader, Bob Hawke, who rightly said if the bell tolls for Israel, it tolls for all mankind. What's gone wrong with the Labor Party that it's now even-handed, so-called even-handed, between the only liberal democracy in the Middle East and a whole lot of listed terror groups pledged to Israel's utter and total destruction?
There has been a position of bipartisanship on these issues, and your predecessors would have had the decency to respect the Jewish community in a way that you have not done today. And for that, Prime Minister, you should stand condemned. It is unbelievable, Prime Minister. It is this Prime Minister who has departed from the precedent of the Labor Party, the great right of the Labor Party, people who should be speaking up, people who should be out there advocating a position, as Bill Shorten is, as many people, Mr Speaker, in the Labor Party are able to do, but not this Prime Minister.
The only possible conclusion is that senior Labor figures have surrendered their principles to the large and militant Muslim groups in some of their electorates. Or that Labor's been so penetrated by the cultural Marxist left that it now sees Israel as the embodiment of white privilege and settler colonialism. Either way, it's an utter indictment of this government. This was so significant today. If you've worked in and around Parliament House, you will know what you saw today. It happens rarely, and it almost never happens on foreign affairs. This is really significant. And our country's in a sad state when the government is incapable of simply acknowledging the first anniversary of an atrocity and standing in solidarity with Jewish people here and the world over. Instead, the Prime Minister wants to make it about civilian deaths in war, as if there's no moral difference between collateral damage in a just war and the depraved terrorist killings on October 7 last year. Now, there's simply no parallel between a terrorist outrage with gunmen gleefully slaughtering women, children, even babies, and the tragic deaths of civilians that Hamas and Hezbollah routinely use as human shields to protect their military installations. The fact that our Prime Minister's tried to link these two, well, that shows he just doesn't get it, that he's weak and that he is simply unworthy of the office he holds.